So in your experience, let's say that you're going to raise $20,000 or 25,000, you said at the beginning. So we raised the 25,000. That automatically translates into quantity, right? So people are buying this item. So it means so many pieces are already pre-ordered and paid for, and that's the indication of the demand. So as far as translating that to Amazon, in your experience, does that replicate on 1-to-1 or double, triple? What, I mean, this is very hard to answer, but is it ever possible that, oh, Kickstarter, because the spirit of the people is support, right? Obviously, commercial interest is one thing, but the spirit is also important, the motivation. So does it replicate? What is your experience with that?
Yeah, so this is where the Amazon research data is helpful to understand what potential that you can expect within the Amazon platform. And it obviously depends on product category. There's so many variables, but if we're looking at Amazon performance data, that's going to give us the best indicator of what that will look like when it comes to moving over to Amazon. And the benefit well, a few things. Well, if we're working on developing a unique product, this is going to stand out on Amazon and it's going to be helpful. We get a whole bunch of other benefits like, well, we immediately get access to these customers. So it's not like Amazon where you can't communicate with them by email. Another massive benefit of doing it this way is you automatically get the emails of everyone who's purchased your product. So you can actually communicate with them. So you can say, hey, I'm going to launch on Amazon now. Thanks for supporting. I'm going to give you a, promo code or something like this to share this with your friends and family who also like dogs, and take advantage of it during this time frame. So you can actually immediately have access to an audience that cares about your niche, might be buying the product again for themselves or for a friend, and engage immediately to help you launch on Amazon. So there's a lot of benefits to kind of like this. Essentially, there's a lot of benefits to having access to your own audience, and this is something that Amazon obviously makes very difficult because of obvious reasons. But once you start playing this game, it becomes a very, very different game because now you have an audience that cares about what you do. So with our product, for example, we had about 10,000 customers before the launch from our first campaign. We had $1 million campaign across Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and pre-orders, upsells. And so in our second campaign, when we launched the coffee product, we essentially obviously reached out to this audience that was already excited about coffee. So when we launched, we had our funding goal within the first hour. And the coolest thing was at the end of the campaign, we raised about $319,000. And we looked at the stats, and about 5% of our customers from the initial campaign came back to support the second campaign. So 5%, that doesn't sound like a very, very big number. But when we looked at the actual revenue that was generated by those customers, it was about $39,000 of sales from initial customers. So imagine being able to launch your product to your own audience without PPC spending, without giveaways or these other tactics to try to arbitrarily get momentum. You actually have people that are ready to support your product when you launch. So when you launch product 2, product 3, accessory 1, accessory 2, product 4, there's people that are in this niche that care about what you're doing. So one of the biggest benefits of this approach is that you're building a relationship with a customer that really cares about what you're doing. And this can really help you scale your e-commerce results. Being able to launch every single time and get $20,000 to $40,000 of sales from your own audience is a massive advantage for sellers. And we don't have to go about these weird roundabout ways to try to get momentum on the platforms if we had this option, right?
Well, I mean, we talk about it over and over. We're trying to get influencers. We're trying to run PPC campaigns. We're trying to run social media campaigns. All that is to build a following for your product, and it costs money and it takes time. So here you have an audience already that wrote checks for you, and they feel for you. So, and they don't cost anything, right? So it's a no-brainer. And I'm not surprised that generating $39,000 out of 5% of the people, it's because it's the old 20 80-20 rule, right? It's 80% of your, so it's the same situation. So it makes total sense. Well, I mean, this is a very, to me, when I listen to you and then you walk through the steps and why, and then your fallback on why Amazon data will be important is, I mean, that's how you know it will replicate or not. So, so you know ahead of time. So you just have to now figure out the logistics of the Amazon operation and then simply leverage your audience in the process. So it's a great conversation, man. So this is a great discovery on your part. So my hat is off to you, and you're helping a lot of people. And what I love about this whole thing is you're not producing anything. There's no lead time. There's no nothing. There's no bringing inventory without knowing what's going to happen. So it's a big deal. So everybody listening, definitely, I would say give it a shot. There is no harm. You just have to, whatever that you have to do anyway. So there's nothing here other than just putting up a campaign page, doing your research, building your audience, your email, your assets that you're going to build. You're going to have to do anyway. So you may as well do it without also having to do anything for building an inventory, at least your initial batch. So it's a great conversation, man.